race sprint cars, and those who prowl the Thunder and Lightning division know this cat is special indeed. Dave Steele won the season opener, Lakeside Speedway, broke the all-time speed record for non-wing sprint on the mile at Phoenix. Fast-timed Winchester Speedway, the hairiest sprint car track of them all. But chasing checkers isn't the only thing that makes Dave Steele special. He's a 21-year-old kid in the thick of the fight for the championship. And tonight that championship fight comes to Indianapolis Raceway Park. The USAC Stoops Freightliner Sprint Car Series here in Claremont, Indiana. We bring it all to you on ESPN2. Ladies and gentlemen, we offer you the Thunder. I'm Dave Despain, and it's a pleasure to welcome you here to IRP, where the racetrack is a little slippery and the temperatures are a little on the cool side. We had a big shower blow through here about 3 hours ago, washed all the rubber off the racetrack and dropped the temperature about 20 degrees. It is a perfect night for racing, as they say in the biz. Let's take a look at that battle for the championship and talk in terms of points. The top four bracketed by less than 100 points. There's Dave Steele down there in fourth spot. Doug Kalita, who won an midget here last week, leads the standings. And Jason McCord rounding out your top five. Want to take just a moment to go back to last week because, as they say, all's fair in love and the last lap. I want you to check out what happened as we came to the checker for the midget feature last time on Thunder. You're riding with Tim Schutt. Look out, no place for Tim to go except on his head. Kalita came back, as we said, and won the race. Now, let's jump in the sprint cars and take you to I-70 Speedway, Odessa, Missouri. Last lap, Andy Michner leads Chet Phillip. A little contact. Michner is over the wall and out of the ballpark. How's that for a wild ride? Worth another look. He's all squirrely out of two. Phillip gives him a little nudge. Andy's over the wall, and Phillip ends up facing the wrong direction on the racetrack. Yes, indeed, it does get a little wild when the checkered flag waits in the open wheel USAC wars. Will we see that kind of action tonight? Could happen. If we do, I guarantee you we got the two best men in the business on top to call all the action for you. We bring you, ladies and gentlemen, the three-time USAC champion, our expert analyst for tonight, Larry Rice, and the guy who calls all the action for the Thunderheads, Mr. Bob Jenkins.
All right, Dave, thank you, and good evening, everyone. They used to call this the Thunder and Lightning division. Now, over there to the left, that's the west, and you can see the skies are pretty good right now, and we hope that that rain that we had earlier today can stay away, and we can get in this exciting Stoops Freightliner Sprint Car program for you tonight. The first heat race is lined up on the racetrack. Let's take a look at the format for tonight. We will, first of all, have three heat races, 8 laps, top 4 advancing, 12-lap semi-feature with the top 8 advancing, and then the 30-lap USAC Stoops Freightliner Sprint Car feature. Earlier tonight, the qualifying was held, and Kenny Irwin Jr., driving car number 2, set the fast time. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for this first heat race. Tim Cox will be on the pole in car 40, Brian Gerster alongside in 11, Tyler Walker in number 35, and Brian Tyler in 4C. Brad Armstrong will start inside row 3, and Dave Steele outside, and the fastest qualifier of the evening, Kenny Irwin Jr., will start all alone in row number 4.
Right, Kenny Irwin Jr. Did have fastest time tonight. He's in a car owned by Johnny Vance. Johnny Vance has been around a long, long time. His father was really a pioneer in this sprint car racing many years ago. He owns a lot of good sprint cars through the years, and still owns a very good sprint car today.
Dave Steele will line up on the outside of row number 3 in car number 14. This is the young man who came up from Tampa, Florida, and has been quite successful in the USAC ranks so far this year. The field is approaching the back stretch, and next time around they will get the green flag. Onboard camera tonight, at least in this race, will be carried by Tim Cox, who will start on the pole. This should be good, looking back on the entire field as they come around for the green flag. 8 laps of racing coming up.
And that's Tyler Walker in that 35 car right behind him. We'll see what happens when the green flag drops.
Field accelerates, coming through corner number 4. Green flag waves. Good start. Everybody right together on the racetrack. Armstrong in the black car goes down to the inside. Cannot pick up any positions, though. And Brian Gerster has the advantage down the backstretch.
Brian Gerster did a nice job. Got a good start. The outside is the preferred starting position. He kept that, and Tim Cox got locked down in the
challenge a little bit, but look at Dave Steele on the outside. He's wheel-to-wheel with Tyler down the back stretch as Gerster continues to lead. Now Steele takes second.
See, whenever you move down like he did, like Tyler did, you leave an opening on the outside. Steele just took advantage of it. Oh, look at him smoke. Brian Gerster's smoking big time. He's trying to get out of everybody's way, heading for the inside of the racetrack.
And so that gives the lead to Dave Steele and opens up a bit of an advantage. Boy, a tough break for Brian Gerster. There he is, slowing down and heading for pit road as the field comes around and completes lap number 3. This is an 8-lap race. Kenny Irvin Jr. has moved up to second. And a problem, a car into the fence. That looks like it's Tyler Walker in car 35. Brad Armstrong was the other black car on the inside of the track.
Brad Armstrong went down to the inside. As Dave said earlier, this racetrack is very, very slick tonight for some reason. When he got down there, got sideways, he just backed up into poor old Tyler Walker. He had no place to go and got up into the fence.
Tyler Walker is from North Hills, California. He's a second-generation driver. His father has driven sprint cars on the West Coast in SCRA and in NARC wing sprint car competition. Tyler has himself driven in ASA competition. So here's a young man who has a great future ahead of him. It doesn't look like he's going to be too successful here tonight because that car may be damaged too badly to continue. Here it is again.
Right there. Armstrong got sideways. He just got the right rear up into the side of Tyler Walker. I mean, he had no place to go. Turned him around, slammed the fence pretty hard. Armstrong kept on going. He just motored on around. It didn't hurt his car too bad. Here's another look at it. You can see he's way down on the bottom of the racetrack. Very slick down there. He just couldn't hold it. Thing got away from him. He slid a little bit. Walker went up over his tire and bam, hit that left rear right into concrete.
And that brings out the cleanup crew here at Indianapolis Raceway Park to get the remains of his car off of the speedway and to make sure all the moisture that was put down by that car is up off the racing surface. So we're going to take a break. We're in the middle of 3 laps completed of the first 8-lap heat race. The Stoops Freightliner sprint cars are at IRP. Stay with us.
At Citgo, when you team up our super premium gasoline with our Super Guard motor oil, you'll get all the high performance and reliability you demand. So, prepare yourself to be totally blown away. Super premium performance. Citgo says go.
Silver Bullet is shipped cold to tap the clean taste of the Rockies. Good boy. Look for the new Coors Light wide mouth can with a giant opening for a smoother pour.
Of Notre Dame is in theaters. Will today be the day? You're ready to fly? And it looks like everybody's getting into the act with the puppets from Burger King.
Don't thank me. Thank Quasimodo.
Your kids can collect all 4, only $1.99 each, with any value meal. The Hunchback of Notre Dame puppets, only at Burger King.
Thunder brought to you by Daytona USA, the ultimate motorsports attraction. Well, it didn't take long for things to get wild here at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Tyler Walker's second visit here, and it didn't get far into it. What happened anyway?
Well, we're on TV tonight. You know, we got our car running good. I mean, doing real good. I was happy with the crew and everyone did everything right, Walker Engineering. But, you know, you're on TV, you got some guy driving in over his head, and that's exactly what he did. But what can you do, you know? We'll be out here next time, you know.
What about the car? Is it too beat up to come back with a semi?
Well, I haven't taken a good look at the car yet, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to be ready.
All right, that's Tyler Walker, an unhappy end to the first heat from his standpoint. We're about ready to go back to green with Gary Leonard.
And the green does come out, and Dave Steele is at the front of the field, but Kenny Irwin Jr. is marching toward the front. Back in third position, Brad Armstrong chases Brian Tyler.
And look at Kenny Irwin. He is all over David Steele. And if we take a look at Armstrong, he's right after Tyler. Both these battles are really right after each other. The black car chasing the white car in both cases.
4 laps completed and 4 to go, and Irwin hangs her on the bottom of the racetrack, but cannot keep her down there, and he maintains second position. He'll not make a move here in turn number 3. Let's see what happens in 4 as he comes off the corner. Kenny Irwin Jr., the fastest qualifier, trying to take the heat race lead from Dave Steele.
You can see both these guys tippy-toeing through the corner. These cars sliding around just a little bit. All that rain earlier, they've done a lot of testing out here, got a lot of rubber down, but that rain washed it all away, and it's really, really slick out there on the racetrack. David Steele right now seems to have found a little bit of evidence to pull away just a couple car lengths.
Meanwhile, Armstrong has passed Brian Tyler to take over third position. Remember, only 4 will transfer automatically to the feature race, and right now the guy out in fifth position, and the one on the outside looking in is Tim Cox, who started on the pole. The white flag comes out, and Irwin takes the lead, and something's happened to Dave Steele.
Boy, he's lost a cylinder. He's lost something. It sounds like that car's only running on 7 cylinders. He's going to go ahead and try to run around here, finish this race, make the feature so that he can at least come in, you know, make the feature, not have to go in and through the semi.
He's going to do that, I think. Here comes Irwin off the 4th corner and takes the checkered flag, wins heat 1. Steele finishes second despite the problem. Armstrong is third, Brian Tyler 4th, Tim Cox finishes in 5th position. So Kenny Irwin Jr. gets it.
I'm wondering if that car did not jump out of gear, because once he got it back in gear and got his speed back up, he was as fast as Kenny Irwin.
Yeah.
So that thing might have jumped out of gear for some reason down there between 3 and 4, cost him the lead, and at least he got it back in gear and got going, because he was looking down inside the car when he went past the starting line.
That's a good point. Maybe we can see some indication of that when we take a look here in just a moment of the pass for the lead. Meanwhile, he comes into the victory lane. Here it is. Let's see if we can see something from David Steele's car.
Kenny Irwin just, you know, it just looks like the thing died on him. Kenny Irwin went around him just like the thing quit. And he's down there. Look at him. Look at him. You can see him head shaking up and down. Watch his head shaking up and down. He was trying to get that thing jammed back into gear.
And look at Irwin. As he came out of the 2nd corner, he got up and banged the wall.
Well, you think these guys haven't got it on tonight. You're crazy. He's out there leading the race, and he's still bouncing her off the fence.
But he's got a smile on his face, and we'll be back to talk with him in just a moment. Kenny Irwin Jr. wins heat race number 1. 2 more heats to go. Big semi, and then the 30-lap Stoops Freightliner USAC Sprint Car feature on Thunder.
And now, a special message saying no to smoking, saying no to alcohol, saying no to red meat, saying no to rock music, saying no.
Your rules are really beginning to annoy me.
It takes more than big guns to save the world.
Hey, One-Eye!
Call me Snake.
It takes a bad attitude.
Nobody draws until this hits the ground.
Kurt Russell. Escape from L.A. Rated R.
Draw.
Plan your escape Friday, August 9th.
Way to do it is take the body out and the head's going to fall. You got to rip. You got to
Mickey Ward takes on Louis Vader, Sunday at 9 on ESPN2.
Back at Indianapolis Raceway Park, we're off and flying. He won his history. Kenny Irwin Jr., your fast qualifier, has won it from Dave Steele, who had a little problem. Brian Armstrong comes back after that tangle to finish third. Brian Tyler rounding out your top four and bound for the main event. So we get the opportunity to talk to our fast qualifier at the same time we talk to our first heat winner. You're on a pretty good roll. Congratulations, Kenny.
Yeah, thank you. The car was running good. It's maybe a little loose. I don't know if everybody's seen that on the back straightaway. Kind of almost took the wall down, but no. We actually got a new Ed Pink motor this week, and motor's running great. Wins Oil Company. I just, hopefully it's our night. I thought last week was going to be our night, but maybe it's tonight.
Could you have gotten around Steele had he not had his little problem?
I don't know. The car was pretty loose, and he was pretty good, so I kind of doubt it. You know, I don't know. I would have tried something on the last lap, though.
Well, we've hinted at it a little bit. Let's see how loose that car was. This is after the pass. You got right up there and brushed her pretty good, didn't you?
It felt pretty good. I was kind of worried going back into one if it was going to put a flat tire on the right front or something. I didn't know.
So she's working good. You going to change anything for the Peach?
Just tighten it up a little, and we ought to be pretty good.
All right, keep it out of the fence, will you?
Going to try. Thank you.
All right. Kenny Irwin Jr. comes home a winner. Steele apparently jumped the car out of gear, got it back underway, and finished second. Let's go back up top side.
Well, good call, Champ. You called it right. His car jumped out of gear.
Well, you know, it almost has to be something like that because he got it going again so quickly and really didn't finish that far behind him.
This is the 13th USAC Stoops Freightliner Sprint Car Race of 1996. We've had 10 different winners in the 12 previous races and 8 different winners straight now. There has only been one repeat champion on the pavement. There you see the 5 drivers who have taken the checkered flag on paved track so far this year.
Yes, and Dave Steele, I guess that's what he prefers to be called, is the guy that came up here just to run the first 2 or 3 races of the year. He was doing so well, he was leading the points, as a matter of fact, after the first few races. He decided to stay and contend for the championship. Eric Gordon, he won the first race of the year. Since then, he hasn't run a lot of races, though, so he's not really in the points championship, but he's driving his own car. Here we see Andy Mitchell. He is the guy that has won more than one race. He's won 3 so far. He's hooked up with a great car owner. He knows how to get around this place. And here we see Kenny Irwin. We just saw how fast he can be, especially at IRP. He's won once here already this year, and he's going to be very tough tonight. And here's Chet Phillip. He's run Indianapolis, he's run Daytona, and he can certainly run a sprint car. He has been fast at every pavement race. But earlier tonight, look at this.
But he recovered from this crash in practice to qualify in 6th position. They repaired the car, and he qualified 6th. Not so, though, for Billy Puterball, who before that banged the wall up in turn number 4. That car was repaired, or rather damaged beyond repair, and Billy Puterball will not be in the program this evening. As far as the top qualifiers are concerned, Kenny Irwin Jr. the best. Doug Kalitta, the points leader, is 2nd. Andy Michener is 3rd, followed by Dave Steele. Tony Stewart is here, and Chet Phillip, as we indicated, was the 6th quickest in the time trials earlier this evening. There's Billy Puterball's car. He's been scratched for the evening. We're going to come back with the second 8-lap heat race of the evening in just a moment from Indianapolis Raceway Park on ESPN2's Thunder. We'll be right back.
Fall River celebrates America, August 7th to the 11th. Come join the celebration.
Hello, Cody and Fernandez Insurance. How may I help you?
Cody and Fernandez Insurance wants to help you understand your auto insurance. They'll make sure that you have the proper coverage and that you're receiving all the discounts you're entitled to. Cody and Fernandez offers evening or Saturday appointments for your convenience, either at your home, business, or in their office. They offer free registry service, low down payments, a no down payment plan, and quotes over the phone. Cody and Fernandez, located between Shaw's and Stop and Shop on Fall River's south side.
In your life you have to wait for. Your sports news shouldn't be one of them. ESPN News Network, the 24-hour sports news network from ESPN. Who else?
Back at Indianapolis Raceway Park, the next heat forming up. Meanwhile, Chet Phillip has had an eventful evening already here at IRP. First of all, let's go back to practice. What happened anyway?
I guess the left rear went down in practice, and it's come down straight away. It was a little squirrely, and then as soon as I entered the corner, it backed around only.
Must not have hurt it too badly. You were able to get it repaired pretty quickly.
Yeah, I had a lot of good people helping me, and we put the front axle in it, and we're back out there.
Most recent winner over at Winchester, now coming here to IRP, fixed the car and came back and qualified 6th. You got to feel pretty confident about the way things are going tonight.
I was really surprised. Dick Fuller's helping me out here, and this is his first night here racing with us, and I thought, oh man, this isn't much of a showing for him, but I think we're going to be all right.
So you can win it, come back from adversity and win this thing?
It's possible. Yeah, we did the other day, so we'll try to do it again.
Attaboy. Chet Phillips says he thinks he can still pull it out, having beat the car up a little bit in practice. Let's go up topside for the second heat.
Indiana Sprint Week is something that's been going on here in Indiana for many years, but it's been a non-sanctioned event until this year. It's now part of the Stoops Freightliner Sprint Car Series, and it begins this Friday night with a race at Bloomington, Indiana Speedway. Then they move to Paragon on Saturday night and Evans Kokomo Speedway on Sunday. And for those who like the dirt, this is certainly an opportunity to pick up some points.
Those are 3 pretty nice little racetracks. They've got tons and tons of cars. They'll probably have 50, 60 cars, and with the USAC sanction, it's going to increase the money payout as well, so I'm sure everybody's real happy about that. And you're going to see a lot of these guys. Almost every one of these guys is going to be there, plus another 30 or 40.
Here's a lineup for the second heat race. Eric Gordon on the pole, or supposed to be, in 71, and Bill Rose. Second row, Brian Hayden and Gus Wasson. Row number 3, Tice Carlson and Tony Stewart. And in the last row, in car number 22, Doug Kalita. Eric Gordon is not out there at the moment, and so that moves Brian Hayden in car number 2H up to the pole position. And here's a guy who feels much more at home on dirt, but decided earlier this year that he wanted to chase the sprint car title, and he's doing a very fine job as he is currently in the point standings 3rd.
Yes, he's a young man who really grew up running down at places like Putnamville, Bloomington, and Paragon, and all the places we just talked about here in central Indiana. Of course, central Indiana is one of the few hotbeds for non-wing sprint cars on the dirt in the whole country. There's only 2 or 3 other places that run them. So if you want to run USAC and you want to learn about non-wing sprint cars, this is one of the best places to do that. Brian Hayden has been a champion. He's been very, very good at all these places, and he's bringing it to USAC to show them. And, of course, there's a guy that learned his trade well, Tony Stewart. Man, this kid's not only running Indy cars and the Busch cars, but he's back here. He ran a TQ midget the other night, won a race.
He'll run anything, I tell you. What a guy. By the way, Eric Gordon's problem is ignition. Brian Gerster has notified USAC that he is finished for the evening, and so the number of cars dwindles here because of attrition. Let's see what happens in the second heat race of the evening. Brian Hayden leads him down to the green flag, and it wins. Bill Rose with a quick advantage off the straightaway and into the corner as they line up 3 wide into 1.
Tice Carlson clear down on the bottom of the racetrack. He held on to that pretty good. I didn't think he could make that stick, but he did. But look at Tony Stewart. He took the high road, and the high road paid off.
Can you believe this guy? He's going to be leading at the end of lap number 1 from the back row. There it is. Tony Stewart leads. Bill Rose is second. Gus Wasson is running in 3rd position, I believe, in that red car.
You know, the old Bible story about the seeds from second. You can see him raising his hand back there in last place now. He's got a problem because he went from second clear to dead last in about 1 corner's time. So he had a problem. I don't know exactly what it was, but it was bad enough that he lost a lot of spots.
The car did not run particularly well during practice and qualifying, and so Bill Rose may be finished for the evening. He's bringing it into the pits. Battle for second place wages on. Wasson still has it. Kalina wants it.
How many old-time racers at number 96 there? It's owned by John Toth. That name may be familiar to you. He used to race sprint cars with the rest of us old-time guys back in the 70s here. Now he's a car owner. He's hired Gus Wasson, obviously doing a good job.
2 laps to go. Look at the incredible lead that Tony Stewart has on the rest of the field. He is just running away in the Nibel car. Now second place still up for grabs here as Doug Coletta tries to take it away from Gus Wasson. The white flag comes out. Stewart's on the last lap. Here comes second and third. There's an indication of how big the lead is.
Yeah, you can see Doug Coletta wants to get around, but he's not going to jeopardize anything. He knows he's got the feature made already. Oh, he got a little lip strike there. He was going to try to get it a little high and try to maybe on the outside. Once you get too high on this racetrack, it gets extremely slippery. If you look at the racetrack right there, see where the black begins? That black stuff is very, very slippery.
Stewart wins, Wasson second, followed by Coletta, and in fourth position is Brian Hayden. Those were the only 4 cars running at the end of the 8 laps. But man, a very impressive win for Tony Stewart. Look at the steam coming off the corner of the tires. We saw that in the first heat race also.
Well, you know, it did rain here. These tires are extremely hot. They're probably up around 180, 190 degrees when they come off of that racetrack. They could even be hotter than that. And so they run through that water, and they throw off some steam because it's pretty hot. I think that steam's coming out of the engine, though, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. It looks like it could. I certainly did not see any indication of a problem with that car. As a matter of fact, Tony just ran away from everybody and puts the car in victory lane. And again, we'll be back to talk with him in just a moment. The guy that started from inside the front row at the Indianapolis 500 this year, Tony Stewart, wins in a sprint car here on Thunder. They're the top 5.
Thank you.
What makes you happy? What brings you joy? What lifts your spirit? What tickles your fancy? What complements your mood? What catches your eye?
Thinking of you. Infinity.
At Citgo, when you team up our super premium gasoline with our Super Guard motor oil, you'll get all the high performance and reliability you demand. So, prepare yourself to be totally blown away. Super premium performance. Citgo says go.
And the Budweiser IndyCar. Hot enough for you?
Tony Stewart with an impressive win over Gus Wasson, Doug Coletta, and Brian Hayden. The first 4 and the 4 transferees into the feature race. Those are the results of heat race number 2 here this evening. Tice Carlson finished in 5th position, and he did not actually complete the race. He's back in the pit area trying to get that car fixed so that it can run the semi-feature, which will be coming up at the conclusion of heat race number 3, which is coming up in just a few moments. Let's go to victory lane, Dave.
And in heat number 2, our heat race winner, Tony Stewart, a familiar face to all you Thunderheads, here tonight because that Loudon IRL test was postponed. That worked out pretty well for you. You were able to get back to your roots, weren't you?
Yeah, it's kind of like wearing an old pair of shoes again. This car really feels good tonight, and I got to thank Willie Bowles and Glenn Nye will forgive me a chance to come back and run for him again.
Looked like you got her a little hot. What was that all about?
I don't know. You know Glenn Nye. Glenn Nye runs the weirdest stuff on his race cars, and he's went from the standard fuel injection back to the carburetor on top of this motor. So it's been overheating all day, and we just keep trying to get it calmed down a little bit. But the car's working good. If we can just get the motor to cool off a little bit and quit running so hot, I think we'll be in good shape.
We got a piece of tape here that'll show just how well that car is working. Let's go back and take a look at the first lap in real time. And I want you to tell you how you got that yellow number 20 from the outside of the back row all the way to the lead in one lap.
That's from running Bristol with the Busch car. You learn to run right up against the wall with those things. So, you know, we just got a good start, and you know, a couple of guys started running in the middle of the racetrack, and our car was working good all over the place. So I just went to the top and went around, and you know, it stuck coming off a 4 on the bottom, and off we go.
Pretty good looking race car for the feature, and a pretty busy weekend for our friend Mr. Stewart here. You were scheduled to go from Loudon over to Talladega. Now it's a little shorter trip for you, I guess, huh?
It's a lot shorter trip. You know, we wish we could have gone to Loudon because you know, our short track program with the Indy car is really working well right now, and I know Team Menard's ready to go do some testing. All the guys are getting restless at the shop, so they're ready to go, and I'm ready to go with that. But it's nice when we get a night off to come back here and run the midgets and sprint cars.
You coming back next week? We got the Kroger Speed Fest. We got the trucks. We got the Busch cars. We got all kinds of cars to race here. You going to come back over and run some of that?
Actually, I'm going to run all 3 nights. We just put a truck deal together tonight, and I'm going to run for George Snyder in the Silver Crown car on Wednesday and run for Renier Walsh on Friday with the Busch cars. So I got a full plate of stuff for IRP next week.
Tell me about your truck deal. What are you going to drive?
Well, I think it's going to be a Chevrolet. I don't even know who the owner is yet. We got the call this morning, and everything got finalized while we were trying to get ready to go out here tonight, and it came together all at the last minute. But I know it's with GM, and I got to thank Ray Smith from General Motors for helping us get that program put together for the next week.
Everybody wants Tony to drive. I got a rent car out here. You want to drive me back to the hotel when this thing's over?
I don't know. They're drag racing across on the other side. I might go over and do that in between heats or something.
All right, I'm going to let you go get ready for the main event. Tony Stewart will be here for all of the activity next week. We're coming back, of course, to Indianapolis Raceway Park. This will be a good time to tell you what we got coming up. The Tony Stewart week here will include Thunder on Wednesday with the Silver Crown cars. That'll be at 9:30 Eastern time on The Deuce. And then, of course, the Craftsman Truck Series, where Tony will make his debut in the Cummins 200. That'll be live on the big network Thursday night, 8 o'clock. Yours truly and Benny Parson. And then the Busch Grand National Race, the Kroger 200, the 15th running thereof, Friday night, 9 o'clock Eastern time. We got it all for you on ESPN. And we got more of the sprint cars right after this.
X Games, sports from the edge. Now, X Games, music from the edge. 17 slamming hits on one CD. Korn. Primus. Toadies. And Red Hot Chili Peppers. Beastie Boys. Seven Mary Faith No More. X Games, music from the edge. Get it in stores now.
What can make your tomorrow better than today? A promotion? A great paying job? A new career? At ICS, more than 10 million men and women have prepared for new careers without setting foot inside a classroom. And now at home, in your spare time, you can get your diploma or degree. Choose from any one of these courses. Then call toll-free for free information about training with ICS.
Call 1-800-291-9988 right now for free information. There's no obligation, so call now. 1-800-291-9988.
From ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, it's ESPN Magazine Pro Football 96. Chris Berman, Sterling Sharp, and the ESPN team tackle everything you need to know to start the season. Tough guys, rough guys, new guys, the Big Tuna, Miami Heat, the Dallas Dilemma. Yeah, the big guys are back, and they're all in ESPN Magazine Pro Football 96. On newsstands now.
It's Thunder. It's on ESPN2, and it's at Indianapolis Raceway Park in Claremont, Indiana, just west of Indianapolis. It's the USAC Stoops Freightliner Sprint Car Series, our first look at the sprint cars in 1996.
Well, this doesn't have anything to do with the sprint cars here tonight, but we talked to a young man a couple of years ago in Ventura, California. I think Dave did an interview with him. His name was Josh Lakatos. He told us that he was a quarter midget champion. He wanted to go racing in the worst way, but he had another project he was going to try to do before he went racing. That was to get into the Olympics. Well, this week, he was a trap shoot silver medalist down in Atlanta. We want to congratulate Josh Lakatos and wish him all the best with his trap shooting and his racing career.
Away, Josh, representing auto racing in the Olympics. Here's the lineup for the third heat. Ron Kohler and Jim Mahoney are on the front row. Second row, it's Bobby Smith and Jason McCord. Row number 3, Robbie Block and Chet Phillip. Back from the crash earlier tonight, Andy Michener and Eric Gordon are on the last row. So Eric Gordon, who was unable to go in the second heat race because of ignition problems, tried to get it fixed, but he's coming into the pits as the field comes down and takes the green flag, and the third heat race is underway.
Sure is. Looks like
Jason McCord has come down into the lead.
He certainly is. We'll go on board and look at Andy Michener down on the inside of him. Jason McCord driving that Payless car, leads this thing, but Michener comes up all the way from the back of the pack again to be right up front, right at the start of the race.
He tried to equal the feat that Tony Stewart did last race, that is driving from the back row to the lead in one lap. He did not get it accomplished, and he fights for the lead going down the backstretch. Meanwhile, there's a third party that's interested in this lead, and that is Chet Phillip. So it's McCord, and then Michener, and then Phillip, and Michener looked inside but didn't have the room.
Michener tried. He wanted to get inside him. He just didn't have the room, and he's got to be careful because Chet Phillip was really on his bumper. Oh, man, look at right there. He got it right on the inside of him. Looked like he wiggled just a little bit, almost touched wheel.
Jason McCord got out of the throttle, maybe hit the brake just slightly. That was enough to let both Michener and Chet Phillip by. There they are up front. We ride along with Jason McCord, who's now running in third position.
Look at Phillip. He's out after Michener. But Michener, again, is a very fast race. Look at the battle back here for the transfer position.
That's Robbie Block, who currently has fourth position, and he begins to move away from the rest of the field. Behind him, Kohler, Smith, and also Jim Mahoney.
Mahoney's smoking. It looks like he's got leaking oil or something out the right side of that car. That's the reason he was wiggling around so much. I think he's running in his own oil.
Up front, it is still Andy Michener leading at the completion of lap number 5. 3 more laps to go. Michener leading Chet Phillip, and now Michener has stretched out the advantage just a little bit. Andy Michener, the only repeat winner in this Dukes Freightliner Sprint Car Series in 1996. And here's Kohler and Smith as they battle for 5th position.
There's two guys battling for 5th. Smith sticks it on the outside. Let's see if he can do this without getting pinched into the wall. He sure did. I'll tell you what, though, it's pretty brave to stick the car on the outside coming off the floor like that.
Bobby Smith, young driver from Martinsville, Indiana, and Ron Kohler resides at the northern part of the state in South Bend. White flag out for Andy Michener. 1 more lap to go.
Well, Andy looks like he's got things pretty well in hand. They're running right in the groove. The groove on this racetrack is just below the block car. You can see where the guys have been running. The lighter part of the racetrack is where everybody's been running. They've kind of got that sealer worn off. Once you get up into that blacker stuff, up the top of the racetrack, it's really slick.
Chet Phillip closed in a little bit in turn 3, but did not get the job done. Here comes the third place battle. It goes to Jason McCord as Robbie Block finished in 4th position.
Robbie Block gained a lot of ground, though, there in the last 2 or 3 laps. He was right on Jason McCord as they came down for the checkered flag.
So the Hoffman sprinter that has had so much success down through the years in sprint car racing with drivers like Rich Vogler and Robbie Stanley, now under the able control of Andy Michener, at least on the pavement, and he has pulled into victory lane for heat race number 3. Coming up, the semi-feature and then the big 30-lap feature. Dave will be back to talk with Andy Michener when we return to Indianapolis Raceway Park.
The Silver Bullet. It's shipped cold to tap the clean taste of the Rockies. Look for the new Coors Light wide mouth can with a giant opening for a smoother pour. Now,
A brief on the Olympic Games from Haynes.
The first Olympians had strength, courage, and spirit. What they didn't have was clothes. Maybe that's why coming in first was so important.
Thank you.
Think if they had Haynes back then, they could have enjoyed Haynes' style and comfort and been spared the embarrassment of finishing second or third.
All rise for the national anthem.
Thank you.
I'm Michael Jordan, and you've been briefed.
Yesterday, we went to my favorite place, Burger King. Mom and Dad had a special surprise waiting for me. It was Quasimodo.
Now your kids can get all 4 puppets. From Disney's The Hunchback of Notre Dame, just $1.99 each with any value meal.
And then I got carried away just like Quasimodo. Okay, maybe the last part didn't really happen.
The Hunchback of Notre Dame puppets, only at Burger King.
Question. What do you call hockey when the ice melts? Roller hockey international. All the action. Cold ice.
We're back at Indianapolis Raceway Park where Andy Michner gets a big swallow of Hinckley and Schmitt bottled water here. They're the sponsors of the race tonight. Chet Phillip was second. Jason McCord, fifth in the points, runs third in the heat. And Robbie Flock put on the good charge to get that last transfer spot. So we got an opportunity to talk to the only guy to win more than one of these races this year. And he's got 3 working on 4. Andy Michner, congratulations.
Thank you very much. You know, the Hoffmans prepare very well, very good car. And, you know, we're a little bit struggling a little bit tonight. And we put a race setup on it for the heat race. And I kind of think we got to fine-tune it just a little bit, and I think we know where the areas are, and hopefully we can make it 4.
Thing looked like it was running around on rails. We saw a lot of guys slipping and sliding around there. That looks like a 30-lap setup to me. What are you going to do to the car between now and the main?
We're going to fine-tune it. I don't know what Rob's going to do. He's a magic man. But, you know, getting into 1, it seems like it's a little bit, I don't know if there's oil or anything down there, but it got a little bit slippery getting into 1. So that's definitely where we're going to have to improve on.
McCord had the onboard camera. We've got a little videotape here of the pass for the lead. Looked like you kind of scared him out of that. You got up alongside and he moved over and gave you a little room.
I know. I think so, too. It scared me because I didn't know if he was going to come over or not. But, you know, Jason's a good driver, and, you know, we're just working on our setup and see if we can come off low. And, you know, we're doing pretty good at that, but we just got to get a little bit better. And, you know, going down the back stretch, I think it's there. And I think he came over on me just a little bit, scared the bejesus out of me. But, you know, we passed him, and, you know, hopefully we can do that again in the main event.
What's been the key to the chemistry for this team? You guys have really come together. You've won 3 races. Why does it click? What makes it work?
Well, I think everybody gets along. We all gel together. You know, we're kind of out to have fun, but we want to win at the same time. You know, the good Lord's looking over us, and, you know, it's just a combination of all, you know, the whole team. It's not just me, you know, it's just not just Rob, but everybody is doing the job on the car, and, you know, I'm proud of him, and hopefully we can do it again tonight.
All right, he's going to head over and get that car ready for the main event. Let me just come with me. I want to talk to the guy who owns this race car. I don't know how long he's been owning race cars. Let me ask him about that. Gus Hoffman, when did you have your first race car?
About 65 years ago.
65 years ago. So you're getting to where you actually know something about this business, aren't you?
No.
I want to ask you about Michner. You had a lot of great drivers in your cars. What do you like about this kid?
Well, he's just an awful likable guy, and I think he's a hell of a race car driver.
Well, I tend to agree with that. We're real proud that he's come up through the Thunder ranks. Real proud to be associated with you. Nice to see you in Victory Lane.
Okay, thank you.
That's Gus Hoffman. You want to know a little bit more about this guy's career? Bob Jenkins has got the whole rundown dating back, what'd he say, 65 years.
Winning sprint car races is nothing new for patriarch August Gus Hoffman. 40 years ago, Don Branson was winning races at places like New Bremen, Ohio, and Winchester, Indiana, in the number 98 Park Lumber Special owned by Gus. The Hoffman family then took a hiatus from the sprints for a while and went to the Indianapolis 500. They qualified for the first time in 1974 with their longtime sprint car driver Larry Boom Boom Cannon, while Spike Gelhausen's Spin and Save in 1984 marked their final start. It was back to sprint car racing and the car owner's title in 1989 with Rich Vogler driving. Those were glory days filled with wins and fast times until the tragic day of July 21st, 1990 at Salem, when Rich suffered fatal injuries within inches of the checkered flag. 2.5 great seasons followed with Steve Butler driving, and then in 1993 they hooked up with Robbie Stanley. Young Robbie winning his third straight driver's crown and earning a third title for the Hoffmans. Sadly, that association also ended in tragedy when Robbie was struck down at Winchester in May of 1994. The Hoffmans bounced back to second last year with 5 different drivers, and tonight they'll be going for USAC career sprint car win number 35. Andy Michener's driving the car on dirt. Dave Darland, or rather on pavement. Dave Darland handles it on the dirt, and the Hoffmans are looking this year for their 4th title in the past 8 years. They have finished in the top 7 of the last 8 years.
And there's 3 generations of Hoffmans that are involved. Rob is the grandson, Dick the son, and of course Gus the grandfather. All 3 of them. Gus got them all started. All of them are addicted, and all of them are very good at what they do.
What a great family that has built the foundation for the USAC Sprint Car Series down through the years. In fact, other series besides the sprint cars. We'll take a break and be back in just a moment with more from IRP.
All set?
You bet I am. Thanks to you.
A few weeks ago with Jesse, I noticed something. Dandruff. So I told him about Head & Shoulders. Regular shampoos just rinse flakes away. Head & Shoulders helps prevent flakes from even forming.
Because great hair can't have flakes.
I heard he took you. Yeah, he just kept taking me to the hoop over and over.
Don't worry about it. You're going to like the Air Flight 72. They'll get you back on your game. Foot Locker's the only place that's got them.
Nice shoes.
Nobody gets you closer to the game than Foot Locker, where it all begins.
At Citgo, when you team up our super premium gasoline with our Super Guard motor oil, you'll get all the high performance and reliability you demand. So, prepare yourself to be totally blown away. Super premium performance. Citgo says go.
Welcome back to Indianapolis Raceway Park. It's a rather cool summer evening here in Indianapolis. Thunder has completed 3 of the heat races. We're standing by for the semi-feature and then the feature. However, in the meantime, let us show you a fun type of racing, and one in which you can get into for a very reasonable amount of money. These are the Mini Cup cars, the MMRA Mini Cup cars, and they've been out there on a little track down in turn number 1 for the past few minutes. We're riding with Adam Andretti. Yeah, it's John's little brother.
It certainly is. He's been running these things all summer long. He's having a ball. He's I don't know whether he really wants to follow in the footsteps of everybody else in the family or not, but he sure loves the sport just like the rest of the family.
He's trying to get around Brian Walker in car number 2. This is kind of a tri-oval type of racetrack, and gets a little bit onto the grass and spins out and loses several positions, but hey.
It was a little more tri than oval right there where he was when he got around her. The car number 40, that's Tony Stewart. He's out there. He runs everything. He loves just to race, and he got in one out there and ran with the rest of the guys.
The number 4 is Mark Amenda, and look at Pete Bidding in car number 99, and oh, Mark Amenda slides to a stop over in what would normally be turn number 4, and he puts himself out of the race. So there's a little bit of excitement from the Super Mini Cups that ran a few minutes ago down in turn number 1. Dave?
Well, we were joking about Tony Stewart driving everything there is to drive. I didn't know he was going to get in a Mini Cup car. What do you think of these things anyway?
These things are pretty fun, you know. They feel like a go-kart but have the characteristics of a stock car, you know, with the size and weight and everything. So it's fun. Maybe I can get him to let me take it over the drag strip now, and I'll just complete the whole evening. But I got to thank Mark Amenda. He's the one that set this up for me, and he let me run his car last week when we were here with the midgets, and it was fun to get back in it again tonight.
You started out in the, you know, the little, I guess, micro midgets and TQs and stuff. Had these things been around when you were a budding young racer, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old? Is this the thing you'd have jumped into?
I'm sure we would have really considered it. You know, when I was growing up, we had go-karts and quarter midgets, and the quarter midgets really couldn't do any road racing, and I could run ovals and road courses and dirt and pavement with the go-karts. So that's the route we decided to go with. But now, you know, since the last 10 years, there's so many young feeder divisions that bring kids and get kids involved in racing. So it's nice to see the divisions like Mini Cups come along.
All right, congratulations on a great run in the Mini Cup. Tony Stewart, the Mini Cup race is history. Let's go back to upside.
He mentioned that there is also activity over on the drag strip. This is a really neat thing that Indianapolis Raceway Park and several other NHRA facilities do. They simply open up the drag strip to anyone. You pay $10. They call it NHRA Street Legal Nights, and you come out and you simply do the best you can down the quarter mile.
Yes, and they do this all over the country, really. NHRA, the premier organization for drag strips around the country. They do a tremendous job. They've got a junior drag strip program for the young guys like we just saw with these Mini Cup cars, and they've got all this street legal stuff. I mean, these things are pretty fast.
Yeah.
What you see right there.
109 miles an hour is no slouch in any means. All right, well, let's turn our attention to some midget racing. Our early Thunder home, Ventura Raceway in California, played host to the Western States Coal Midgets last weekend. For the first time since April, one driver took another rung on his career ladder.
In the 30-lap feature, pole sitter Wally Pankratz grabbed the lead and would hold it for the first 15 laps. Coming out of turn 2, Jim Keene got upside down, and that brought out the only red flag of the evening. The battle for first between Pankratz, Sleepy Tripp, and Jay Drake continued until lap 16 when Tripp took the low line and won the drag race down the front stretch to take the lead. Tripp would then go on to take the checkered flag for his 99th career USAC Western States feature and his first victory of the 96 season.
As far as the point stand were the all-time feature win leaders, however, look at the tremendous number of wins that Sleepy Tripp has racked up in comparison to everybody else. Second on the list is Robbie Flock with, shall we say, only 37. Robbie, of course, is here tonight. Billy Boat has 32, and the Jones boys, 18 and 16, along with Rusty Rasmussen. Now, as far as the points are concerned, Billy Boat still has the lead, and as I recall, he isn't even trying to win the championship.
No, he told us earlier he was going to try to run the SCRA Sprint Car Championship and not really run for the Midget Championship, but he's got a great lead. Rick Hendricks down there at the bottom, he was leading, but boy, he had a heart problem. He had to drop out for a couple of weeks, and that hurt his chances.
By the way, you're watching one of the Mini Cup cars there. We can tell you that Matt Jewell, driving car number 24, was the winner of the Mini Cup race that was held a few minutes ago. So congratulations to Matt. We're going to take another break from Indianapolis Raceway Park as the crowd is up stretching a little bit before the racing resumes here. We'll return right after these messages. Stay with us.
Put 700 of the world's most powerful horses together, and what do you get? You get out of the way. The Budweiser Ken Schrader stock car. See you at the races.
When I started losing my hair, it bothered me, and I finally got to the point where I just didn't want to think about it anymore. But I didn't want to do anything until I knew I could get the look that I wanted. The most important thing to me was the hairline. It had to look natural.
Hair Club for Men is proud to announce a technological breakthrough. Call our toll-free number now to receive your free copy of Hair Club's exciting new technology brochure.
I just love the idea that I can get out of the shower, towel dry my hair, blow dry it, and I'm gone.
So call now and get Hair Club's new technology brochure. You'll see before and after photos of men like yourself who have already experienced the benefits of this innovative technology.
I'd seen too many people that had tried surgery or products that promised to grow their hair back again. I wanted something that was simple, non-surgical, that would give me the results that I was really after.
Call our toll-free number for your free brochure, because Hair Club for Men really can make a difference.
Back at Indianapolis Raceway Park, because of the tremendous amount of attrition that we've had here tonight, we are not going to be able to run a semi-feature race, and so the 30-lap feature will be next. But we got a lot to tell you about and a lot to show you before we get to that event. We've talked all evening about Dave Steele, the young man who has come up from Tampa, Florida. And there he is working on the car because, for the most part, he doesn't have any regular crew members that helps him. He does the whole doggone thing.
He's the whole ball of wax. He and the young guy that Jeff Walker that he works with and lives with and kind of uses his stuff. That's him walking off there to the left side of the car back there. They do most everything themselves, and mostly it's up to Dave because Noling sent that car up here. The quick load guy from California, from Florida, the guy that owns the race car, he sent it up here and he just said, man, go for it.
Well, you could say that this kid certainly has nerves of steel. He set one-lap track records at Phoenix on the 1-mile oval at 137 miles an hour in his very first visit there. He set a new lap record at the Winchester racetrack, the half-mile at 120, almost 124 in his second visit there. He registered a win at Kansas City, and he won the Little 500. That's not a USAC sanctioned race, but is one of the real well-known sprint car races in the country that's run up in Anderson, Indiana, on the quarter-mile racetrack the night before the Indy 500, featuring 33 cars lined up in 11 rows of 3. Well, you've heard of race teams being run out of backyard shacks and garages. Well, we found one of USAC's top sprint car teams in an even more unusual place.
Westfield, Indiana is about 20 miles north of Indy, and just east of there is this little storage business. Jeff Walker owns it. Those in the area remember when he was sprint car champion at Evans Kokomo Speedway. Often when you drive by, you'll see this race car hauler. And if you look even closer, you'll find Dave Steele's backup pavement sprinter, USAC Silver Crown champ dirt car, and this car he's driving here tonight.
We're using up about 3 or 4 storage bays, so, you know, he doesn't charge me rent on that, but, you know, he threatens to every once in a while. But we got 6 cars here a lot of times, and we got 4 or 5 bays tied up with race cars, which it doesn't bother me. I grew up around racing. I love racing, and so I don't mind helping somebody that I think is going to make it big time.
It's nearly a father-son relationship that's developed between Jeff and Dave. In fact, the offices are also living quarters.
Come on in. This is our house.
And inside, it's plain to see that Dave's Wheel of Fortune has revealed some letters which have spelled winner already for the 21-year-old who's a long way from his real home.
Well, the way we started out in here, this is my office, and my girlfriend usually sets up here and runs the storage business for me, and I'm kind of hid back in the corner. This is my desk here. I get the cheaper of the 2 desks, and I had it back there hid in the back. And then when David come to live with me, then we moved him back here and moved my desk out. So this is his room. This is where he calls home. Even got some stuff there on the floor. Looks like fuel pump, helmet, shocks, shoes. Everything relates to racing around here. If it doesn't have anything to do with racing, we throw it out the door. We planned on running the first 3 USAC shows out west in Kansas and Phoenix, and we went out there, ran pretty good, had a first, second, and third place finish in the 3 races, and you know, we ended up leading the points. So my farm owner, Jack Noling, he gave me the chance to come up here and run the whole USAC deal and hopefully finish up in the top 5, you know, if we can't finish first. And you know, if you're going to try and move on and further yourself in racing, USAC's a pretty good place to try and do that.
And this is the car that Dave Steele's driving here this evening, a car that balked a little bit for him in the heat race. Let's go back first of all and figure out what that was all about. What happened when you were leading the thing out there?
Well, he was out there in front, and the motor it seemed like it just quit, and I thought the motor blew up, but, you know, I revved it up, and it turned out it just jumped out of gear, so I crammed it back in gear, and we was able to finish anyway.
They were joking about you having to do all the work on this car yourself. That's not entirely true. You got a little help here. Who's helping you out?
Jeff Walker, he's a real big help, and Tony Murray, them guys helped me out a whole lot, and we just couldn't do it without them.
21 years old and already a pretty impressive career in the sprint cars. How long have you been driving these big machines?
Since I was 16, about 6 years. When I was 16, we ran a few select races down to Florida and 3/4 midgets before that. So actually, we've been doing it quite a while, really.
When you came up here with the intention of just running a couple of 3 races, races. Were you surprised to run in the top 3 in your first 3 outings in the USAC sprint cars?
Yeah, actually a little bit, but, you know, my car owner, Jack Noling, he always has real good cars, and Harold Warches, he helps us out, and, you know, when you got a good car, you can usually put it up front.
What about tonight now? We know it balked a little bit in the heat race, but you'll get your qualifying position back. What do you think you can do in the main event?
Right, we start second row, so it'll be tough. The guys in the front row, they're fast. It's just hard to tell. It'll be tough getting around those guys, but I think the car's running pretty good. We'll just have to see how it goes.
All right, keep an eye on him. That's Dave Steele, currently 4th in the series point standings. Guy who didn't even plan to run the whole campaign, and he's in the middle of the battle for the championship. We've got the main event coming up at Indianapolis Raceway Park. It's Thunder, and we'll be right back.
Number 4 on the outside.
ESPN, the leader.
News Center 13 covers the news in your backyard, in the courts, in the schools, and in the neighborhoods. It's news from your hometown. News Center 13 keeps you informed with useful information on health, education, and the world of computers. Stay up to date with commentary on the big issues of the day, and help local police solve serious crimes on Law and Order. It's news you can't get anywhere else.
Hello, Cody and Fernandez Insurance. How may I help you?
Cody and Fernandez Insurance wants to help you understand your auto insurance. They'll make sure that you have the proper coverage and that you're receiving all the discounts you're entitled to. Cody and Fernandez offers evening or Saturday appointments for your convenience, either at your home, business, or in their office. They offer free registry service, low down payments, a no down payment plan, and quotes over the phone. Cody and Fernandez, located between Shaw's and Stop and Shop on Fall River's south side.
Drive with us. RPM Tonight, the ultimate wrap-up of the day that was in the world of motor racing. Monday through Friday at 7 and Sunday at 8, only on ESPN2.
The date was July 28, 1988, here at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Defending sprint car champion Steve Butler lost a right rear, sending him into the wall and collecting David Harrison in the process. Up front, a 3-car battle. Kevin Huntley, Bob Fry, and Gene Lee Gibson. Then suddenly in turn 3, contact. Fry nearly flipped over. Both were out of the race. Staub was able to get through the crash and pick up second. A few laps after the restart, Greg passed Huntley and drove to his first win, which came in his 38th USAC sprint car start. He would go on to finish runner-up in the points that year to Butler. And it turned out to be his only victory in 177 USAC sprint car starts before he called it quits on July 6, 1996.
And Greg Staub's retirement has just been marked by USAC here. A little ceremony at the start-finish line, but the car will be in action tonight with this guy at the wheel, Tice Carlson. We've seen him a bunch on Thunder over the years. Tell me about the race cars. Any good?
Yeah, it's a very good race car. We've messed with the setup a little bit. Either the track tightened up on us on the heat race or we just missed the setup. Good thing about driving for Greg is he lets us do what we want to do. He's been a driver for, you know, since Jesus was born. And he trusts my input, and I trust what he does for me, and we go from there.
What kind of advice does he give you? Does he try to coach your driving, or does he let you handle the cockpit responsibility?
Actually, he lets me handle the cockpit responsibilities. All he wants us to really do is finish the race.
Second time in the car, what do you think the outlook is for this ride? You going to stick with it a while?
Oh, yeah. He has built a new dirt sprint car, and we're going to run the dirt also. We're trying to put a deal together right now, PDM Racing, to run the whole IRL series. So when the Indy cars are running, or excuse me, the IRL cars are running, then we won't be able to run the sprint cars or the Silver Crown cars. But, you know, we'll take it from there.
Pretty exciting to have that IRL deal all put together after all the big excitement at Indianapolis. You got to be pretty pumped up about the opportunity that represents.
Yeah, I am. And I've said it a million times. You know, now the opportunity's here. It's opened up a lot of doors for a lot of people, and luckily
luckily enough, we're at Indianapolis at the right time. We're able to take advantage of the opportunity.
All right, good luck tonight. That's Tice Carlson. He'll saddle up the Staub Sprinter as we get back topside. What's all that smoke out there, guys?
And noise, my goodness. Did you hear that? Now, we're going to show you what happened here. There is Dave Schultz taking his drag bike off of the racetrack, but here's the burnout that he left us down the main straightaway a few seconds ago.
Listen to that thing scream.
Wow. Well, that's something else that's going to be here at Indianapolis Raceway Park before too long. Of course, the big U.S. Nationals on Labor Day weekend, and Dave will be there along with the other drag bike drivers and, of course, all the other Topulers and funny car drivers and pro stockers and everybody else. Great weekend here at IRP.
Pretty amazing weekend, really, where there's tons and tons of people.
Can you imagine going down a drag strip at one of these guys get up to 100 and much too fast.
Yeah, way too fast.
On two wheels.
That's what I always said. I don't want to ride one of those things because they can't even stand up by themselves. Heck with that.
That's right. Well, Manzanita Speedway in Phoenix, Arizona hosted the wingless sprinters of the SCRA, and the air temperature was well over 100 degrees, and the track action was almost as hot.
When the green fell on the 30-lap feature, Phoenix resident Billy Boat charged from his second-row starting position to the lead. However, Boat would flip the number 15 machine in turn 3 of the opening lap, ending his race along with second-place Steve Ostley's. A full restart resulted, and J.J. Yaley grabbed the lead. Yaley then encountered slower traffic 7 laps in, allowing Corey Kruzman to slip into first. Yaley would return to favor the following circuit when Corey got slowed by traffic. A restart on the 25th lap allowed Kruzman to move by Yaley for a second time. Yaley's chances for victory ended on lap 28 when he pitted under yellow to change a flat tire. When racing resumed just 2 laps from the finish, Ron Schumann took the lead at the end of the backstretch. Corey would not be denied, though, repassing the points leader on the next to the last turn, collecting his 4th win of the season.
And that's why Billy Boat was not in the Western States midget race. Speaking of midgets, boy, do we have one for you. On the evening of September 4th, Wednesday night, we will be live at the Terre Haute Action Track for the traditional race they call the Hot 100. This will start 11 rows of 3 of midgets on the half-mile dirt track. That's live at 9:30 Eastern Time on September the 4th, and I can't wait for that. It's going to be great. Skoal National Midgets in the Hot 100 on September the 4th. We are awaiting the start of the 30-lap feature race for the Stoops Freightliner Sprint Car Series here at Indianapolis Raceway Park, live on this edition of Thunder. We'll be right back.
Hi, who's this?
Mel.
What are you thinking about now?
Something sweet.
Like what?
Caramel?
Caramel's so different. What would you like to do with it?
I'd cover it with roasted peanuts.
Roasted peanuts and creamy caramel? Wow. You're making me so hungry.
What you want is a payday.
Yesterday, we went to my favorite place, Burger King. Mom and Dad had a special surprise waiting for me. It was Quasimodo.
Now your kids can get all 4 puppets. From Disney's The Hunchback of Notre Dame, just $1.99 each with any value meal.
And then I got carried away just like Quasimodo. Okay, maybe the last part didn't really happen.
The Hunchback of Notre Dame puppets, only at Burger King. The Silver Bullet is shipped cold to tap the clean taste of the Rockies. Good boy. Look for the new Coors Light wide mouth can with a giant opening for a smoother pour.
From ESPN Labs, a breakthrough in sports coverage.
What about an interactive ESPN?
ESPN Net Sports Zone, with everything you need to be a better fan. ESPN Net Sports Zone.
It's Thunder at Indianapolis Raceway Park and the USAC Sprint Cars tonight, standing by for the start of the final event of the evening, the 30-lap feature race. There you see the cars just about to be pushed off for that event. But in the meantime, we got more highlights from other racing to show you. Many of the USAC midget regulars competed at a Neymar-sanctioned event this past weekend. That was down south of here on the high banks of Salem, Indiana Speedway. Gene Lee Gibson sat on the pole for the 20-lap feature, but it was outside front row starter Robbie Parrish who led the field to turn 1. Parrish was pressured by Kenny Irwin Jr. in the number 30 car that Tracy Hines has driven on occasion. Both were eliminated battling for the lead. Tracy himself was a story as he challenged leader Ryan Newman for the top spot. Newman didn't give up as he moved back around Hines in turn 4. Tracy tried the same move a lap later and this time made it stick as Newman unsuccessfully tried to come back on the inside. Hines held on to record the win and pocket the $2,500 top prize.
And for the midgets, we move to the sprints. This is the Kalita Flying Service Machine. The driver is the series point leader. Let's lean in and get a quick word from Doug Kalita. You won here last week in the midget. You think you can do it again tonight in the sprint car?
Yeah, we're starting from the third row, and we're going to go right to the front here. We're hoping it's going to be a tough race. We got some good cars around us, but I think we can go forward in this thing.
You're not worried about saving the tire and hanging back 10 laps. You're going for it from the fall of the green then, eh?
Oh, yeah, we'll be going right from the beginning. The Kalita Flying Service Machine, it'll keep its tires under it.
Guys are talking about it being a little slippery out there tonight. Did you notice that in the heat race?
Yeah, it really is. The real high groove is just a little bit looser than, comparing it to whatever, but it's you can still pass, and that's what we're going to need to do.
All right, Kalita likes the top. We've seen that before. He is a little slippery up there, but I'm not worried about it. I'm going for it from the fall of the green. I want to win the sprint car championship. Let's go topside.
We got a lot of really good competitive drivers starting up there in the first 3 rows, and it should be a real wide-open race among all of those guys, including Chet Phillip and Tony Stewart, who was so strong in his heat race, and Kenny Irwin Jr., who turned out to be the fastest qualifier of the evening. Well, we got more highlights to show you. $50,000 and the right to wear the King's Robe awaited the winner of last Saturday night's 13th annual King's Royal. That was held over at Eldora Speedway near Rossburg, Ohio. At the start of the 30-lap World of Outlaws sanctioned event, Johnny Herrera slid to the inside from his outside front row starting spot and took the lead from Andy Hillenberg at the end of the opening lap. Herrera would encounter several problems along the way, however. Midway through the race, he almost spun while trying to lap a slower car. Both Jack Haudenschild and Craig Delansky would each suffer mid-race problems as well, damaging their hopes for victory. Following the restart from Delansky's spin, Herrera would suffer his second setback when his wing partially collapsed, but would maintain the lead. Dean Jacobs then brought out the second caution of the evening following a spin in turn 4. On the restart, 92 champ Sammy Swindell crashed on the backstretch, and series points leader Mark Kinzer was also involved but escaped with no major damage. Haudenschild and Jeff Shepard then both fell victim to flat tires, setting up a 2-lap sprint for all the cash. No last lap drama ever materialized, though, as Herrera led flag to flag to capture his first ever King's Royal. Afterwards, Johnny got to celebrate the $50,000 win with a smile fit for a king. Here are the top 5 finishers in the 13th annual King's Royal. Hillenberg wound up second, followed by Steve Kinzer, Stevie Smith, and Mark Kinzer. Defending champ Dave Blaney took a provisional and wound up 7th. Those, of course, were the World of Outlaw wing sprint cars. You'll be seeing these same USAC sprint cars without the wings at that same speedway, Eldora, near Rossburg, live on Wednesday night, August the 7th. That is 2 weeks from tonight. That's at 9:30 Eastern Time, as ESPN and Thunder goes to Eldora Speedway for the first time in a long, long time.
And I'm really looking forward to getting over there. That's a tremendous racetrack. They'll have a tremendous field of cars over there. Always a lot of fun just to go over there and see how the Earl of Eldora is going to handle things, isn't it?
What a guy, Earl Baltus, the owner and promoter of the races over there. Well, the cars are being pushed off for the 30-lap feature race, and we will be back for the start of it in just a moment. Stay with us now. The big finale coming up on ESPN2's Thunder.
At Citgo, when you team up our super premium gasoline with our Super Guard motor oil, you'll get all the high performance and reliability you demand. So, prepare yourself to be totally blown away. Super premium performance. Citgo says go.
We bought the business from Jimmy's father. That's why he pushes himself. He doesn't want to disappoint the old man. His back began giving him grief last month. He'd take Advil, plug along, but at the end of the day, it just wasn't enough. So his doctor said to try a leave.
Take it every 8 to 12 hours.
No, I like that. Winds up at the end of the day, a leave is stronger relief than a dose of Advil. A leave was all it took. This year, he may even take a day off.
You take enough for both of us.
Aleve. All day strong, all day long.
I don't see them. I think we're safe.
Of course we're safe. We're in my Subaru Outback.
I know the world's first sport utility wagon.
This beauty's got dual airbags, full-time all-wheel drive. It's more stable in the turn than a Blazer.
What else you got?
Better braking than an Explorer. That's my Subaru Outback. The world's first sport utility wagon.
Tom Jenkins, Larry Rice, and Dave Despain at Indianapolis Raceway Park. It's ESPN2's Thunder Series, and we got the sprint cars lining up with a big 30-lap feature race at IRP.
Yes, and tonight there's $2,000 in wins challenge money up for grabs for one of the three names that we drew out, Kenny Irwin, Andy Michener, and Tony Stewart. They were the fast time winners of the second and third heat races respectively, so those guys all have a chance to win the $2,000. If nobody wins, that wins money rolls over to $3,000 for next week's Silver Crown race right here.
And congratulations to Chad Phillip, who was married 2-3 weeks ago. His new bride's name is Carrie, so we congratulate them and wish them the best in their wedded marriage.
Well, that is nice.
How about that? Well, the cars get lined up. Dave, this could be good here. What do you think?
I think it's going to be terrific, and I think it's all about points, isn't it? Because once you get to the midway point, whatever these guys tell you, they're all thinking championship. Kalitta's been the man to beat from the get-go. He's kind of grabbed this series by the throat, but he's only 11 points up on Brian Tyler as we come into this thing tonight. And with Brian Hayden and Dave Steele each within 100 points of the lead, and both qualified for the feature, all about points. Yeah, it's important to win, and Michener's the only guy who's been able to do that more than once this year, but the bottom line is who's going to be the champion. And Kalitta, as you heard in that interview a couple of minutes ago, that 22 car that just went by and lower right on your screen, is very, very focused. He thinks that he's got the car to beat here this evening. I'm going to be watching 22 when they drop the green.
Dave, we refigure the points after the qualifications and the heats, and Brian Tyler's now 17 behind Kalitta. Of course, that will change after the race. And as we go into the feature, Brian Hayden only has a 1-point lead in third position over Dave Steele. So there's a lot of points up for grabs here in this 30-lapper that could be very important at the end of the year.
And the ringer in there is Tony Stewart, and he don't give a darn about the points. And he's starting in the front row, and he's going to try to win this thing.
Right. Tony Stewart has only run one other sprint car race this year. That was at Terre Haute. Where did he finish? He finished a very disappointing second. Here is the starting lineup for the 30-lap feature. Chet Phillip and Tony Stewart are on the front row. Dave Steele and Andy Michener in row number 2. Third row, Doug Kalitta and Kenny Irwin. Fourth row, Brad Armstrong and Robbie Block. Row number 5, Brian Tyler and Gus Wasson. In the 6th row, Jason McCord with an onboard camera and Brian Hayden. 7th row, Tice Carlson and Bobby Smith. In the 8th row, Bill Rose and Tim Cox with another onboard camera. The 9th row, Eric Gordon and Ron Kohler. And in row number 10, Jim Mahoney and Jeff Bloom. 20 cars set to go, 30 laps of racing. Tony Stewart starts from outside row number 1.
Well, this is the car that he drove last year, the Glenn Nibel car. This car has a V6 in it. It's been very, very fast. Of course, it's owned by a little Willie Bowles now, along with Glenn Nibel. So it's, but this car is a tremendous race car. Glenn Nibel's the only guy that's really ever been able to get that six-cylinder perfecto. I mean, a lot of guys have run fast with them, but nobody have perfected them like Glenn Nibel has. And when we got a guy like Tony Stewart behind the wheel, even makes it that much better.
It was outlawed from the Silver Crown division, but okay in the sprints.
Exactly.
There's the onboard camera being carried by Jason McCord. Good view of the cars up ahead. He starts from back there in the 6th row. Here we go. The field begins to accelerate and looking for green. Green flag wave. Here we go.
Boy, they were getting really loose down there, and it looked like Brad Armstrong back there in that black car. He was really wiggling around, but he got that thing under control and kept everybody else behind him out of trouble. Look, the first two cars are still running side by side.
That's a drag race into turn number 3. Phillip had it for a second. Tony Stewart battles back on the outside. Who's coming off the corner? Oh, and Phillip has the lead by a half a car length at the end of lap 1.
I can't believe those guys ran side by side like that for a whole lap and never touched each other. But man, I'll tell you what, it was plenty close a couple of times.
And it was exciting. Stewart still in second position. Dave Steele is up into third. Once again, Tony Stewart tries to make a bid. He looks to the outside, cannot make the pass. That's Andy Mischner running in third position, and Dave Steele is fourth. The tread cam getting some use tonight.
And it sounds like it's getting a lot of... Oh, Tony Stewart's up into the wall. He banged the wall with the right rear. Mischner got all sideways trying to miss it.
Oh, and he slaps the wall big time now and possibly damaged the car. No caution at the moment as Stewart tries to hang up against the wall. Now drops to the bottom and is headed for the pits. Bill Rose has already dropped out of the race. Still no caution.
Tough break work. When he hit the fence coming off the tube, something happened though. You could see the sparks flying as he went down the back straightaway. When he went into turn 3, he couldn't control the car. Went up and banged the fence again. His day is done.
This is Jason McCord's onboard camera. Up ahead is Tice Carlson in car number 44. The lead is head to help by Chet Bullock. Now about 3-4 car lengths, but Andy Mischner on the right of your screen begins to close in just a little bit on Chet Phillip. As a matter of fact, Mischner has caught him.
He has caught him, and I'll tell you what, that's Brad Armstrong back there in that black car. No, that's not Brad Armstrong. That's Kenny Irwin in that black car trying to make a pass up there. There's Colette in the red car.
Up front, still Phillip and Mischner.
Mischner really seems to be much faster here coming off the 4. Look at the way Phillip gets way down to the bottom coming off of turn 4, and Mischner just much faster. The rest of the racetrack, Phillip seems to have as much speed as Mischner does. Boy, that one spot, he just doesn't have the speed.
Chet Phillip has already won this year at Winchester, Indiana. He's a 2-time starter at the Indianapolis 500. And Mischner's trying to take that diamond effect going high and then shooting down to the inside, but it didn't work for him.
No, he can't get up far enough coming off. He would like to be able to pull up on the outside of it and take the racetrack away. He can't do that, so he tries to pinch the car, and he's got to be careful doing that because if he pinches it too much, he could spin.
We'll keep an eye on what's going on. Dave, what happened to Tony Stewart?
Let's ask if Tony Stewart has just climbed out of the race car. Tony, what happened?
I got into the wall coming off the 2, and when it hit the wall, it tipped the rear end over and broke the brake line. I didn't have any brakes going into 3, and I hit it again in 3, I think.
So Tony Stewart is out of it after slapping the wall twice, took the brakes out with the first contact. Back up top.
Well, 2 top contenders have been eliminated in the past 30 seconds. Kenny Irwin dropped out off the banking. He pulls out of the race, and now Doug Kalita has spun over in turn number 3.
Boy, he did do some damage. He's got a flat tire, so I think he not only spun, I think he had some contact with somebody or something before he got down there in that grass, because it looked to me like that left rear tire was definitely fat. Oh, yeah, look at the front end. The shock's off of it. He's had some heavy contact with something before he ever got down there in the inside of that, in that grass and dirt where he's got it all up on the racetrack.
So Tony Stewart is out, Kenny Irwin Jr. is out, and now Doug Kalita is out. Dave, what happened to Kenny?
Well, let's follow the story here. Kenny's talking with Bob East of the Beast crew about what's happened here. He'll get the helmet off, and we'll get a chance to ask him. Kenny Irwin out early as attrition is the big story. Kenny, what happened?
The rear end just broke. At least I think that's what happened. It just popped out of gear. I don't know. It's probably the ring and pinion or something just come apart in it. I don't know. Gosh, man, I thought we really had a chance of winning this tonight. Johnny Vance gave me a good car, Aristocrat Products, and it just wasn't to be, I guess.
With all the good guys falling out here so quickly, you got to guess who's going to win this thing?
If I was betting, I'd bet on Michener probably tonight.
All right, Michener's looking pretty good here with the attrition that has already taken out Tony Stewart, Kenny Irwin, and the series leader, Doug Coletta. We'll go see if we can find him next.
Jim Mahoney, Bill Rose, and Jeff Bloom has also dropped out of the race. And there is Doug Coletta. He's out of the car and discussing with members of his pit crew what the heck happened over there.
Yeah, he's telling them exactly what happened. We couldn't hear or see what he was trying to tell them, but I'm sure he's not a very happy man because this is going to hurt his points race.
Let's see if we can determine what happened. We pick it up late. He's already made contact with the inside wall in turn 3.
Yeah, evidently coming off of turn 2, he somehow got into the fence up very high, which sent him down across the racetrack, banged into the inside fence, and that's what you see there, has all the damage done to it. But I would guess that he either half spun, had contact with somebody, that anyway, it drove him down into that inside guardrail. That's how he got down there in the first place.
Unofficially, Doug Coletta will finish 15th in this event, and boy, that is going to hurt him in terms of points. So the points are going to tighten up at the conclusion of this event if the others continue to roll. There is Doug Coletta, helmet in hand, walking back to the pit area. Well, we'll take a break. We've seen some good racing between Chet Phillip and Andy Michener. They're first and second, and they'll resume their combat when we return.
An army of criminals has taken over. He's outnumbered 1,000,000 to 1. So what? Jackie Chan, Super Cop, rated R, starts Friday.
This is Red Dog beer. It's not ice brewed, fire brewed, and it's not some nursing sipping red. It's just genuinely good beer. Okay, there is one thing unusual about Red Dog. It's unusually easy to drink. Because it's bold yet smooth. Because it's made with the finest natural ingredients. Are you gonna like Red Dog? Yeah, we think so. But hey, it's your call.
The secret to a strong finish is endurance. High endurance from Old Spice. It evaporates less quickly than the leading deodorant stick. It also lasts longer, protects better. For a longer-lasting deodorant stick, demand proof. Try High Endurance from Old Spice.
Back at Indianapolis Raceway Park, did this thing get off to a wild start or what? First, we've lost the fast qualifier and the point leader, Doug Coletta. Doug, what happened over there?
Well, I just got into one there, and I think he got a little loose, and my car was running a little better, and I just got into him with my left front and bent the thing back a little bit, and he was bent back, and I spun the thing out going down the back straightaway. It was bent back a little too far. So it was really running good. The guys really did a good job setting the thing up, Rick Ferkel and Don Schilling and Jerry and Scott. So we're all, I'm real disappointed, but just another race, and keep plugging away at this thing.
Irwin figures Michener's the guy to beat now. Is that the way you see it?
Well, I haven't really concentrated much on anything except the guy right in front of me, so I'll take a look at it here next few laps, but Andy's always tough here, and Chet's. There's a handful of guys here that could win, so we'll just have to see.
Well, that's the frustration for Coletta. He's going to have to sit and watch. If Brian Tyler finishes 7th or better, he's going out here tonight with the series point lead. Back on top.
And they'll go one more lap and get the green. Also frustration tonight for Tony Stewart, who was running second but bumped the wall coming out of corner number 2. And there it is. We didn't know what had happened. He drove it down into 3, and then he really banged the wall.
Yeah, you can see the sparks flying right there. That's because he didn't have any brakes. The rear end wasn't in there. Bang, he hit it again, and he was out of the race.
And now we come back to the restart of this race. Randy Michener closes right on the back end of Chet Phillip as they get the green flag. Dave Steele running third. Bobby Flock is 4th position, and then Brad Armstrong.
Yes, they certainly are. You can see David Steele is falling back up a little bit. Definitely Michener and Phillip were the class of the field here. These two guys, and Michener does seem to be especially fast coming off the corner. Phillip has to run the low groove. He's probably pushing the front end a little bit. That's the reason he has to run off that corner a little bit lower. And boy, it really gives Michener an opportunity to get a good run on it. Michener has not been able to take advantage of it.
a third of the way will be already in the books. Michener still right on the back end of Chet Phillip, and a little bit of racetrack back to third position, and Dave Steele and the rest.
Oh, we got another crash.
Big crash.
2 cars up in the fence down in here.
And it looks like it's Jason McCord and who else?
Brian Hayden. Yep. Brian Hayden and Jason McCord get together down there. Hayden in the white car that's facing backwards. This is Jason McCord, who has our in-car camera.
That should be fun if we get a replay of that.
Well, made fun for us. I bet it wasn't much fun for him, though.
Yeah, really. Anyway, it looks like both drivers are okay. Brian Hayden on the left has already got the helmet off, and Jason McCord is beginning to climb out of his car. Doesn't look like there's a great deal of damage to either machine, but 2 more cars are gone. Let's take a look at it. First of all, from the tread cam, can we see what happened by this view?
Well, we're going to see down on the inside.
Oh,
McCord.
yeah.
McCord got a little bit sideways. Looked like he gave him a little love tap just at the wrong spot. And here we're going to see from the in-car exactly what happened. They're coming down the main straightaway now, coming off of turn 4. So he's on the inside. McCord's going to try to get a big run on him going down into 1. He's on the inside. He hasn't yet been able to drive past him. He's still right beside of him. Just didn't have room. Never did get that big run down on the inside of him. And when he slid up, he just caught the left rear of Brian Hayden, took him right into the wall, and then gives him another little bap right there at the end. After all the brakes were going out of everybody's cars, he couldn't stop the thing either. So tough break for both of them, but I think Hayden and I think even maybe Jason would have to agree that maybe he's the one that caused that by just getting up a little bit too high, and then they're a little too hot on the bottom side.
And these are 2 more drivers that are in the top 5 in points. Brian 3rd coming in, and Jason McCord 5th. Dave, looks like you're ready to talk with him.
Yeah, Brian Hayden is going to be checked out here real quick by the medical personnel. Let's see if he's okay to talk. He's saying he's fine. You all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. You know, it's just a shame. You know, I mean, the pavement's new deal to us, and you know, I was just holding my line, and you know, I don't know why he raced me like that, but you know, we'll just hope we can make up for it on the dirt, you know, and get back in this points chase. You know, we're 3rd, maybe 4th now. I don't know how far we'll fall back, but we got dirt shows coming up, so we'll just give it our best shot and see what we can do there.
Okay, Brian, glad to see you're okay. Let's see if we can move over here and catch Jason McCord, who is also coincidentally with the medical personnel. Jason, what happened from your viewpoint?
I was trying to get by Brian there on that restart. I got the car a little too tight and wanted to wander around on the straightaways, and we got into 1. I got underneath him. We raced in the corner, and the thing just front end hopped out from underneath me, and I drove up into him. It was my fault.
How bad you hurt the car? Are you going to be able to regroup from this and hang on to that top 5 in the point standings?
We're going to try to. I haven't had a chance to really look, see how bad it is yet, but, you know, we'll definitely try to get something together if we can.
But you're okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Both drivers okay, but once again, big impact in terms of the championship standings. Jason was ranked 5th coming in. Let's go back up on top.
And we'll take a look again at some replays. First of all, from the tread cam, and you can see how Jason McCord to the inside just got the car sideways, tried to correct, and boom, right into Brian.
He certainly did. The back end got out, and when the back end caught, it just flipped the right front right into the back of Brian Hayden, and Hayden just was along for the ride at that point.
Now let's listen to this and watch. Over for both Jason McCord and Brian Hayden as a result of that little tangle down at turn number 1. So we're 10 laps into this race. We've still got 20 to go. Chet Phillip, Andy Michener, Dave Steele, and some others would like to win this race. We'll see who does when we come back.
Explosive.
Hello, Cody and Fernandez Insurance. How may I help you?
Cody and Fernandez Insurance wants to help you understand your auto insurance. They'll make sure that you have the proper coverage and that you're receiving all the discounts you're entitled to. Cody and Fernandez offers evening or Saturday appointments for your convenience, either at your home, business, or in their office. They offer free registry service, low down payments, a no down payment plan, and quotes over the phone. Cody and Fernandez, located between Shaw's and Stop and Shop on Fall River's south side.
Track brief.
featuring high-octane explosions, rolling fireballs, jet dragsters, and other freaks of the strip. For slowdown after watching these videos, you better pack a chute. Order today and receive all 3 videos for only $19.95 plus shipping and handling. These videos are going fast, so order now. Call 1-800-664-5600 or send check or money order to the address on the screen. Satisfaction guaranteed.
Thunder is at Indianapolis Raceway Park for the Stoops Freightliner Sprint Car Series, and here were the points coming into this event. Doug Coletta led Brian Tyler, Brian Hayden, Dave Steele, and Jason McCord. Coletta is out of the race. Brian Hayden is gone. Jason McCord is history. And so if Brian Tyler, as Dave told you a few minutes ago, if Brian finishes 7th or better in this race, he's going to take the points lead, and he's running 7th right now. Let's take a look at the top 10 as they stand with 10 of the 30 laps completed.
This is Chet Phillip leading the race. Andy Michener is in second. David Steele running in third. Robbie Flock, who is primarily a dirt driver from the West Coast, he's in fourth. And Brad Armstrong now running in 5th position.
Gus Watson is 6th. Brian Tyler is 7th. Then Bobby Smith, Tim Cox, and Ron Kohler. As the cleanup down in turn number 1 continues, there is one of the victims of the incident down there, Brian Hayden. You know, he told us before the race, Larry, that he consulted some open-wheel magazines and simply looked at some pictures of some pavement sprint cars to decide how he would configure the notes of his car when he bought this.
Well, he was looking for some aerodynamic help, and obviously he'd never run the pavement, didn't know much about it, so he just did a little research like anybody else would do. That was his father standing there with him. He was trying to explain to him exactly what happened down there and how it wasn't his fault, I'm sure.
Well, he's going to have to consult some magazines here to figure out how to fix the thing. Maybe Tim Cox now carries our onboard camera as Jason McCord has been eliminated from competition. Still got 20 laps to go, and the field bunches up now for the restart. Chet Phillip is at the front of the field. It's up to him to set the pace. Here they come. Green flag out. Back to racing. Andy Michener looks to the inside, but cannot make the pass.
Chet Phillip gets a very good restart. He did exactly what he had to do. He got a good restart. He did not give Michener a chance to get a jump on it. Michener wants to make a move, but he just can't find the right spot. He knows the turn 4 is his best opportunity, as every time he tries to pull up on the outside, he just can't pull up far enough.
Oh, Michener a little wiggly coming off the corner there as he desperately tries to get around Chet Phillip, but Phillip is doing an excellent job of holding off the competition. Now Michener looks to the inside once again.
David Steele hanging in there very tough right now. Robbie Flock in that yellow and white car running in 4th. All of those guys seem to be keeping up now. I'm not sure whether Chet Phillip is running a little slower and holding up the group, or whether these guys just cooled their tires off and picked up some speed after that yellow flag.
Either way, they're achieving about 115, 16, 17, 18 miles an hour at the end of the straightaways here. The one-lap track record held by Jeff Roll. It was not broken tonight. Jeff still has the track record, and the order remains much the same. Back in 4th position as Robbie Flock. Looked like he was interested in making a move there, but could not. Now Michener has a good run on Chet. He may have the lead here. He does.
Boy, he does. He gets all sideways. Let's see if he can hang on. He certainly does. He's been a little bit faster the whole time. He just crammed it down in there, held his breath, and drove it on past Phillip. And I think Phillip thought better of it and let him go.
Yeah, I think Andy's going to drive away now because that car is definitely hooked up. Michener, the 94 and 95 Midget Series runner-up, the 93 most improved midget driver, but he has 3 wins already in sprint car competition just this year. Andy Michener with about a 6th or 7th car from the black car driven by Brad Armstrong, the 99. There is Andy Michener, who is driving away from everybody. He's got about a half a straightaway advantage on second place, Chet Miller. So it could be win number 4 here for Andy. The 21st lap is about to be completed. There's the advantage that he has on second, third, and fourth. Phillips still second, then Dave Steele and Robbie Block.
You can see that Dave Steele's hanging on right behind Chet Phillips. He's not gaining much, he's not losing much. Rob Block at the same way. He's kind of maintaining his distance, so not a lot going on there. All these guys up front are just running so quick that very, very small mistakes make a big difference. If they do make a mistake, if they get that car sideways, heat up the right rear tire, it could cost them a position in just a couple of laps. But right now, as long as they run smart and straight, it's going to be hard for anybody to get around them.
Back to Armstrong, Tyler, and Watson. Tyler, had a notion, had to lift, though, as Armstrong maintained the spot.
Now, Tyler, again, he's up there. He's faster. He just can't find a way around. He wants to try to get that big slingshot like he did the last time when he got around Gus Watson. Here he's a little bit high coming off, too. Let's see if he drops down and tries to go under and going into 3.
Meanwhile, I thought maybe Watson had cooled his tires and would make a challenge back to Brian, but I guess not, although he does close in a bit.
Oh, there he goes.
Brian is sideways, coming off the corner, but it worked, and he passes Brad Armstrong.
He got that thing sideways, and I think he might have scared him just a little bit there. But man, oh man, when Armstrong backed out, he almost gave Watson a chance, but Watson seems to have pulled to the inside of the racetrack. He's got trouble.
Yeah, Gus Watson has slowed dramatically the car down on the inside of the racetrack, but Brian Tyler has now moved up to 5th position, and a good job by this young man.
He has done a terrific job. As Gus Watson pulls in, he's got smoke coming out of the engine, so his night is over. But look at Andy Michener, a guy that, a year ago, nobody thought he was a sprint car driver. Everybody thought he was a midget driver. He didn't want to even give him a chance. Well, I'll tell you what, once he got a chance, he showed everybody that he could drive one of these big babies, too.
These days with this team, it's a very bright future.
Well, obviously the team has helped him a lot. The Hoffmans know the race car. They've had winners from just about everybody that they've been involved with, and he is certainly no exception. As look here, Robbie Block has gotten around David Steele. David Steele has fallen back quite a ways. He may have heated up the right rear tire tremendously trying to save the Chet Phillips, and it's cost him that 3rd spot.
It sure has. Robbie Block is able to get around. Block there on the left of your screen as 28 laps have been completed. The white flag coming out this time around for Michener.
There are sparks coming out of David Steele's car. I'm not sure exactly what's going on with that thing, but that might be the problem. There's a bunch of sparks flying out as he went down that last straight.
And he's going to have to hang on here to finish the race. White flag out. 1 lap to go for Andy Michener. That's Tim Cox, and he goes around there in corner number 1, and he's on the way to victory. David Steele has come back up now on Robbie Block and makes a challenge.
Boy, I tell you what, he may have had trouble with that thing jumping out of gear. Remember, it jumped out of gear earlier? That may be what happened. We didn't see it on camera, but I tell you, he's still running pretty fast right now.
4th win of the year for Andy Michener, the only repeat champion, and he's won 4 times. There is Block finishing in 3rd position, just ahead of Dave Steele.
When Chet Phillips came home in 2nd place, we didn't see him cross the line, but he still hung on to 2nd. But Block was 3rd, David Steele in 4th, and Andy Michener's a pretty happy boy right now.
He sure is. 4th win of the season, 4th win in the USAC Stoops Freightliner Series.
He's going to have his arm wore out before he gets in the pit area if you don't stop that.
Taking an extra lap just to cool down the car and enjoy the celebration as the fans are on their feet saluting this young man from Grass Lake, Michigan. 27-year-old driver Andy Michener takes the Hoffman number 69 to victory lane here in Indianapolis Raceway Park tonight.
Well, you know, this young man's a very smart young man. He had an opportunity to go to Indianapolis. He ran some of his rookie tests, and he decided he wasn't really ready to run the IRL race in Indianapolis this year. So, you know, he not only can drive these things fast, but he thinks about it a little bit, too. You know, he says, I need a little more experience. I'm not quite ready, and I've got a lot of respect for a young man like that.
All right, man!
Well, a little bit of celebration and jubilation down there in Victory Lane as Andy is out of the car and everybody around congratulating him. And we'll have a chance to talk with this young man when we come back to Indianapolis Raceway Park. The Thunder race is over here at IRP, and the sprint car champion for the evening is Andy Michner. Back to talk with him in a moment.
I heard he took you.
Yeah, he just kept taking me to the hoop over and over.
Don't worry about it. You're going to like the Air Flight 72. They'll get you back on your game. Foot Locker's the only place that's got them.
Nice shoes.
Nobody gets you closer to the game than Foot Locker, where it all begins. Kenny Bernstein's Budweiser King Top Fuel Dragster.
You know, heartburn medicines have been around for years. First came Tagamet, then Zantac, then Pepsid. But the newest, Axid, now in non-prescription strength as New Axid AR. The only one that says right on its labeling, for many, it can prevent heartburn completely. That's something 2 Tagamet HB, Zantac 75, and Pepsid AC just don't claim. New Axid AR. Proven it can prevent heartburn completely.
Let's review the top 10 finishers here at IRP tonight in the sprint car race. Andy Michner, your winner, making a pass on Chet Phillip midway through. Chet finishes second. Robbie Flock is third. Dave Steele dropping to fourth, but maintaining that spot despite the car not acting right. 6 through 10, Brett Armstrong, Bobby Smith, Ron Kohler, Tim Cox, and Gus Watson. Let's go to Victory Lane. Here's Dave.
All right, and Andy Michner is celebrating big time, ladies and gentlemen. This is the interview we were supposed to do last week after the midget race, remember? But doggone if you didn't stick her in the fence trying to win that one. You won this one, though. Congratulations.
Yeah, it sure feels good. You know, last weekend, I kind of forgot about that. Put that up on the shelf, and all the dust is collecting on it right now. But, you know, Larry Curry and the boys, I just can't say enough for them. And, you know, same thing with the Hoffmans. You know, I like to thank Wins and Jeff Stoops, and I like to say hi to my fiance at home, Lisa. Man, I did it. And hi to my dad and my grandpa, and they're all watching at home. And, you know, I'll see them tomorrow.
4th win of the year. Pretty remarkable in a series where nobody else has won twice. What's the outlook for the second half of the season? How many more of these things can you win?
Well, I'd like to win a couple more, actually. I'm not racing any of the dirt. I'm not going for any points in a championship. I just want to win races and, you know, hopefully work on my next level, getting up to either the NASCAR Super Trucks or Busch or the IRL. And, you know, it's with this stuff and with the team behind me, they're doing it all for me. And the good Lord above, he's the one that's keeping an eye on me and making all this possible. And, you know, I thank a friend of mine, Terry Skinner. Thanks, man. He's been working me through last weekend, trying to pump me up and keep me going. And this is great, man. I just can't say enough.
Let's talk a little bit about how you won this one. Phillip had all the traffic backed up behind him there. You worked on him and worked on him and worked on him. Finally managed to make the pass work, and I think we got a little videotape of that. Let's take a look. And what were you thinking about while you were working on him and trying to set him up?
Patience. And don't make a mistake like I did last week. I think I hit him going into 3 lap before, and I didn't know if I punctured my tire or not, but you know, that pass right there, I knew I had to get by him because I had people breathing down my neck, and I was a lot faster through him in the corner. And once I got by, I just had to open up the lead, stay real smooth, consistent, concentrate, and stay focused. And, you know, the good Lord brought us home.
Congratulations, a terrific victory. We're looking forward to seeing some more of this in the second half.
Hey, I'm going to try off a lot, and I can thank Dave and ESPN and everybody for coming on out, man. Without you, this wouldn't be possible.
He loves winning on TV. Yeah, make some noise for the guy. Andy Michner's 4th pavement win of the year. Somewhere in the middle of all this craziness is Chet Phillip. Let's see if we can find Chet, have a little chat about, well, all in all, turning a fairly frustrating evening into a pretty good outcome here. Here he comes. Chet Phillip, for a guy who started out with his car backed up into the fence, gets the congratulations from Michener. Let's take a minute and talk to him. All in all, not a bad way to wrap up the evening, given the way you started, eh?
Not bad to hit the fence, put an axle in it, and end up second. That's not too bad.
He was pretty stout when he was working on you. You said he might have bumped you a little bit going into 3. You knew he was back there, I'll bet.
Oh, I knew he was there, and if he hit me, I didn't feel it. He did a nice, clean pass. I want to congratulate him and the Hoffmans. It was a good race.
Once he got around, were you worried about the rest of the guys? They were pretty well stacked up behind you there for a little bit, or did you figure you were the second-best car?
No, I didn't figure I was the second best. I figured I was about a mid-packer the way the front end was pushing. We didn't get the axle in, just right. It was just something we threw in there, but we just hung on and did all right. I just want to thank Dick Fuller. He's helping us now with Standard Testing Labs out of Ohio, and he's helping us a lot, and I appreciate it.
Some of them you work for a little harder than others. This one you work for. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
That's Chet Phillip. He comes home the runner-up here in what has been a very eventful evening. 3 of the top 5 in the championship standings didn't finish the night. We'll talk about how the championship shapes up when we come back to Indianapolis Raceway Park, where Andy Michener has claimed his 4th pavement victory of the Stoops Freightliner Series for 1996. We'll be right back.
Disney's The Hunchback of Notre Dame is in theaters. Will today be the day? You're ready to fly. And it looks like everybody's getting into the act with the puppets from Burger King.
Don't thank me. Thank Quasimodo.
Your kids can collect all 4, only $1.99 each, with any value meal. The Hunchback of Notre Dame puppets, only at Burger King.
At Citgo, when you team up our super premium gasoline with our Super Guard motor oil, you'll get all the high performance and reliability you demand. So, prepare yourself to be totally blown away. Super premium performance. Citgo says go.
The Silver Bullet, it's shipped cold to tap the clean taste of the Rockies.
The last Silver Crown race on Thunder, 69 Mike Bliss got under Kenny Irwin Jr., got him up on 3 wheels. They slid across the finish line. Bliss in front by the width of a tire. How better to open the Kroger Speed Fest at IRP next week than the DuPont 100 Silver Crown race a week from tonight, 9:30 Eastern Time, ESPN 2. Now, Thursday night, cue the trucks. In their IRP debut last year, the NASCAR Craftsman truck drivers shot out the light. A week from tomorrow, the trucks are back. It's the Cummins 200 at 8 o'clock Eastern Time on ESPN. And the Speed Fest finale, that is a NASCAR tradition that dates back 15 years. It's the Kroger 200, a Busch Grand National Melee. Last year, you rode along with Jason Keller all the way to the checkered flag. Live coverage of the 96 renewal, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Next Friday night, ESPN is all over the Kroger Speed Fest.
Indianapolis is the place to be next week for all auto racing activity. Those 3 events, and of course that leads up to the big Brickyard 400 NASCAR Winston Cup race over at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Well, our winner tonight, Andy Michener, but let's take a look at our salute to the CarQuest people for their assistance in bringing you the onboard cameras. For your nearest CarQuest Auto Parts store, dial 1-800-492 part. And thank you to Weese Engineering, who provide that platform from which the people stand. That's Bob Fink in particular, and he allows you to see the onboard cameras. He's from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, one of my favorite cities in the USA. Now let's take a look at the point standings. After the 13th sprint car race of the year in the Stoops Freightliner Series, Brian Tyler has the advantage by 6. Now, Doug Coletta finished 14th, but these points are right. He's 6 behind
Dave Steele third, Brian Hayden, and then Jason McCord is fifth in the point standings.
And it did tighten up quite a bit with all the attrition we had here tonight. It gives some of those guys back there in the back a great chance to catch up. Tough break for Coletta, though.
And Dave has the new points leader and Robbie Flock.
As Andy Michener celebrates, including the extra $2,000 for the wins money here this evening, we get a chance to talk with Robbie Flock. First met him when we went out to Ventura for the Western States thing. He was the champion out there at the time. I asked him, is this your best sprint car finish? He said, yeah, so far, meaning you got better things planned ahead, right?
Yeah, I sure hope so. I'm just going to school right now. As you know, IRP is a real tough place, and these sprint car boys, they're real serious. So I'm just happy to be out here learning what we can and trying to get ready for the Silver Crown race coming up. Got to thank Jack French. He put this car together a week ago. It was down, and he didn't even want to run it. And his wife, Betty, talked him into doing it, and the Waynetown gang got her back together. And Mike Matthews, M&M Automotive, built us a great engine, so competition welding cars up there in third anyway.
With a top three finish here tonight, what's the biggest thing you've had to learn to make the transition from the midget to the sprinter?
Well, the sprinters, it's more weight. You know, you slide the car around a little, and I'm used to not doing that, trying to be smooth. So I felt tonight I was rolling the car in a little, driving up, and then turning down to where I've been kind of just, like, stuttering on the track. So we got it better now, and I felt more comfortable, and behind that good company, you learn a lot. So, you know, thanks Sense and Race Products for making us all safe out here.
How about the plan for the rest of the year? You going to run all the rest of the series?
We're going to pick and choose. I'm mainly committed with Rich and Carol Hart on the Silver Crown Series, and we're going to run whatever sprint car races we can afford to do. Jack's doing it out of his pocket, so if we get some help, that'll sure keep us running. But we're just out here trying to keep racing. California, Billy Boat's got it controlled, so come out here and see if we can make a dent anyway.
Okay, man, it's good to see you back here. Congratulations on that top three. Now, ladies and gentlemen, hey, big round of applause for Robbie. Let me introduce you to the new leader of the Soup Freightliner Sprint Car Championship Series, Brian Tyler. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Got to feel pretty good the way things fell tonight. A lot of attrition up in the top five, but you did your job. You came home fifth, and that's good for the point lead. Some sense of satisfaction that goes with that?
Yeah, the car wasn't handling quite the way I wanted it to. The harder I drove it, the better it was getting there at the end. Just one of them things. I'm leading the points again, but it's a long season. Doug's a good hard charger, so it should be a good tight point race.
You think you can pull this out? You see yourself being the champion at the end of the year?
I'm going to work on it.
All right, man. Good luck to you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Fifth place run tonight gives Brian Tyler the point lead as we shuffle the deck at the top of the series. And let's go back to the top of the stadium.
Well, they begin to load up here and head out. Boy, a tough evening for Doug Coletta as he had trouble in the feature and dropped out of the points lead, but he'll be back.
Oh, he always comes back. He's a tough competitor. He's been through these wars before. He knows the ups and the downs. Anytime you win a championship, it's not going to be easy, so you got to go take the good with the bad.
All right, let's go back down to Dave.
All right, down here the celebration continues, and I guess the big issue for Michener is how many of these can he win before the second half of the season is over. I'm looking around to see if anybody else in that top five is down here. I don't think so at this point, but of course what we did lose tonight was the third and fifth ranked drivers in the standings who failed to finish here this evening, and that leads us to the full field rundown, which I imagine by now they've assembled for you. Bob, can you tell us who did what tonight?
Yep, we can. We've talked to Michener, we've talked to Phillip, we've talked to Flock, who finished in the first three, Dave Steele in fourth position, and Brian Tyler, the new points leader. We've talked to him. Now 6 through 10. Brad Armstrong finished 6th. Bobby Smith, the guy from Martinsville, Indiana, was 7th. Ron Kohler 8th. Tim Cox 9th. And Gus Wasson finished 10th.
Down in 11th, Eric Gordon, Brian Hayden, Jason McCord, Doug Coletta, and Tice Carson. Of course, all of those guys, I think, except maybe Gordon, did not finish. Kenny Irwin, Jim Mahoney, Tony Stewart, Bill Rose, and Jeff Bloom. Jeff Bloom had a tough night all night. I think that was the only race he even got to run, was the last one.
Boy, a lot of big names there in the final five with Irwin and Stewart.
Well, you know, this is a tremendously tough division to run in. I mean, you take the top 10 guys at this race, and any one of them could win on any one night. I mean, Andy Michener had them handled tonight. There's no question about that. But if Tony Stewart had stayed in, had a couple of other guys stayed in the race, you know, it could have been a different story.
We complete our conversation with the top 5 finishers by speaking with Dave Steele. Dave?
We started the show with Dave Steele. Let's finish the show with Dave Steele. What was going on with your car there? It looked like it kind of faltered late in the race. What was that about?
Yeah, actually early in the race, it wouldn't stay in gear, and I was having to drive it with one hand most of the time, and it jumped out of gear about 4 or 5 times, and finally on the last yellow, I was able to bend the bracket there on the shifter, and it stayed in gear, but then about 5 laps to go, it spit the brake pads out of the back brake caliper, and it's not real easy running with no brakes, so we just kind of was going to try and hold on to third, but Robbie Flock got by us, and we ended up fourth. It could have been a little worse than that, though.
All right, you worked hard for what you got tonight. Congratulations.
Thanks.
All right, that's Dave Steele, and that pretty well wraps it up here. It has been an interesting and exciting evening of sprint car racing here at Indianapolis Raceway Park, and it's just a warm-up to what happens next week when we're here for Silver Crown, for trucks, and for Busch Grand National Racing. We're going to kick all that off, of course, and cover it all for you with Speed Week. Remember, 12:30 Eastern Time on Friday night. We'll have the NHRA rundown from Sonoma and the Winston Cup preview from Talladega, so be sure and tune in for that. And then, of course, it's the ARCA race, the ARCA 200 from Michigan, live from Brooklyn, Michigan. Our own Bob Jenkins there at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. On Sunday,